Today, we're diving deep into the complex tale of what some have called the most broken economy on Earth. But here's the thing, behind every challenge lies an opportunity for change, growth, and transformation. South Africa boasts immense mineral wealth, including vast deposits of gold, diamonds, coal, iron ore, and platinum spread throughout the country. It also possesses extensive agricultural land and an ideal climate for wheat, maize, and wine production. During the years of apartheid, South Africa faced numerous sanctions, prompting the need for local development and manufacturing of goods that couldn't be imported. This gave rise to a robust manufacturing sector within South Africa, primarily catering to the domestic market. However, the economy remained relatively closed, with minimal international trade occurring during this period. Stringent regulations regarding the outflow of funds from South Africa were also in place, resulting in limited capital leaving the country. Consequently, a formidable banking system developed in South Africa. The majority of skilled and technical labor was predominantly composed of the white population, as the apartheid regime favored the minority community. This preferential treatment extended to access to education, water, electricity, healthcare, transportation infrastructure, and more. Consequently, these factors contributed to a highly skewed distribution of income and quality of life in South Africa. South Africa stands out as the most unequal country globally, with race playing a pivotal role in a society where a mere 10% of the population possesses over 80% of the wealth. The Washington-based institution's report titled Inequality in Southern Africa underscores that South Africa, the largest member of the Southern African Customs Union (SACU), holds the top spot in global inequality rankings, surpassing 164 countries. This ranking aligns with previous reports that have consistently placed South Africa at the forefront of global inequality. Despite 3 decades having passed since the end of apartheid, race continues to significantly contribute to South Africa's pronounced inequality levels, primarily through its impact on education and the labor market, as emphasized by the World Bank. Ethnicity, in particular, contributes 41% to income inequality and 30% to educational disparities. Gender disparities also play a substantial role, with women across the region earning an average of 30% less than men with equivalent education levels. Gender pay gaps soar to 38% in Namibia and South Africa. The unequal distribution of agricultural land, especially in rural areas, further exacerbates these disparities. For instance, 70% of the 39.7 million hectares of commercial farmland still remains under the ownership of Namibians of European descent. It's essential to acknowledge that Nelson Mandela's release from prison in February 1990 and the subsequent multiracial elections held on April 27, 1994, marked a significant turning point in South Africa's history. Mandela's leadership during this period ushered in a transition from minority rule to dismantling apartheid, earning him international acclaim for his dedication to national and global reconciliation efforts. After his presidency, Mandela continued to champion social activism, all driven by his enduring vision of a South Africa devoid of apartheid, where every individual enjoys freedom and equality within the nation. As of the first quarter of 2023, South Africa reported an unemployment rate of 32.9%, which ranks among the highest globally. South Africa's economy comprises 2 primary sectors, the formal sector and the informal sector. The formal sector encompasses all legitimate businesses that adhere to taxation and regulatory requirements. It encompasses well-established private enterprises that encompass a wide range of industries, from grocery stores and restaurants to petrol stations, banks, insurance companies, and more. As long as these businesses operate within the confines of the law, maintain legal employment practices, and meet regulatory standards, they are considered part of the formal sector. Essentially, this sector consists of recognized businesses that contribute significantly to the nation's economy. On the other hand, the informal sector encompasses economic activities that operate without government oversight or taxation. These businesses are typically managed by individuals who do not hold positions in the formal sector. The informal sector includes numerous small local businesses, independent entrepreneurs, and even ventures that operate without legal recognition. The economic transactions of these entities are not factored into the country's gross domestic product (GDP) if they remain unrecorded or off the books. A substantial portion of South Africa's economy is rooted in the informal sector, which includes many businesses in townships and small-scale enterprises operating from individuals' homes. For many South Africans, the informal sector serves as a crucial source of affordable meals, clothing, goods, and services. Additionally, numerous individuals rely on the informal sector for income, particularly those who struggle to secure formal employment within the country. In South Africa, persistently high levels of wealth inequality have endured since 1994, with the top 1% of the population possessing 50% of the nation's wealth. This study explores the impact of macroeconomic policies on wealth inequality in South Africa during the period from 2010 to 2019, utilizing a behavioral life cycle model. Despite a marginal reduction in wealth inequality during this timeframe, the magnitude of this decline is minimal. The findings indicate that the current government policy, which relies heavily on extracting wealth from a very limited tax base that is facing growing financial pressure, falls short of achieving meaningful wealth redistribution objectives. To address this challenge, it is suggested that the South African government should shift its wealth redistribution strategy away from primarily providing lump sum payments. Instead, the focus should be on creating an environment conducive to private enterprises, allowing them to absorb the labor resources available in South Africa. An open labor market approach would facilitate increased private and foreign direct investments in the economy, subsequently bolstering economic growth. This, in turn, would lead to improved income levels and the ability to accumulate wealth, ultimately promoting greater wealth equality. South Africa has grappled with several major corruption scandals that have had far-reaching political, economic, and social consequences. Here is an overview of some of the most prominent corruption scandals in the country. Arms Deal Scandal, 1999. This scandal involves allegations of widespread corruption and kickbacks in a multi-billion-dollar arms deal in the late 1990s. Key figures, including politicians and government officials, were accused of accepting bribes from international arms companies. The investigation and legal proceedings related to this scandal have been ongoing for years. Nkandla Scandal, 2013. Named after the rural homestead of former President Jacob Zuma, this scandal revolved around allegations of extravagant spending on upgrades to his private residence using public funds. The upgrades included a swimming pool, amphitheater, and extensive security measures. The controversy led to investigations, public outrage, and legal battles. State Capture Scandal, ongoing. This is one of the most significant and far-reaching corruption scandals in South Africa's recent history. It involves allegations of a group of wealthy business families, notably the Gupta family, using their close ties to then-President Jacob Zuma to influence government decisions, appointments, and contracts. State-owned enterprises, such as Eskom and Transnet, were particularly affected. The scandal has had severe economic and political consequences, including a downgrade of South Africa's credit rating. VBS Mutual Bank Scandal, 2018. VBS Mutual Bank collapsed due to large-scale fraud and looting. Public officials, municipal managers, and politicians were accused of siphoning off millions from the bank, leading to its downfall. This scandal highlighted the corruption within local governments and municipalities. Bosasa, now African Global Operations, scandal, ongoing. Allegations of corrupt relationships between Bosasa, a company that provides services to government institutions, and government officials have been ongoing. The company is accused of bribing officials for lucrative contracts and favorable treatment. The scandal implicates prominent figures in the African National Congress (ANC) party. COVID-19 corruption scandals, 2020. During the COVID-19 pandemic, there were reports of corruption related to the procurement of personal protective equipment (PPE) and relief funds. Officials and business people were accused of inflating prices and awarding contracts without proper procedures. These corruption scandals have eroded public trust, damaged the country's reputation, and hindered economic progress. South Africa has taken steps to address corruption through legal processes, investigative bodies, and public campaigns.